What's up everyone, it's Russo. I hope everyone is doing well. Please follow my Instagram at Russo Lifts, just in case something happens to this YouTube channel. You can follow, message, and you can watch my daily story content on Instagram. I'll see you there. What is up everyone, it's Russo. I hope everyone is doing well. ASMR sip of some water. Comment down below if you guys want me to keep the ASMR sip or leave it out, because you guys are 50-50. I did a 1,000 vote poll on my Instagram at Russo Lifts. But please subscribe to this channel, hit all, and hit the thumbs up on this video. You may get ghost unsubscribed from this channel, so you constantly have to check back to make sure you are subscribed. But today I'm going to be doing a hater reaction video because it's been highly suggested, and I had a good back and forth with a hater. You know, I think everyone should be allowed to comment whatever the fuck they want. I don't delete comments, so if YouTube's fucking comment section removes your comment, trust me, I'm not sitting there like, oh, I gotta delete that. Everyone's free game here. I've gotten death threats in the comment section, and I'm gonna keep my comments how they should be, just how they are, right? I'm not modifying them, but I'll link or have Andrew throw up the video I did on, basically the title of the video is Prolonged Exposure High Dose PED Cycles, where I go into the side effects occur with performance enhancing drug steroids from the prolonged exposure to the high dosage, meaning, you know, a long-term high dosage cycle is where the damage is occurring over the length of time you're doing the high dosage. But my goal with that video is like harm mitigate. You know, some people pointlessly run super long cycles, are not really getting much out of it, and if it's a steroid cycle, then, you know, myostatin could be killing their gains later in the cycle anyways, and most people don't need that high of a dosage. Most people don't need to go that long on that high of a dosage, and, you know, a shorter blast would probably benefit just about the same results for the average person. I'm not talking about people with competition aspirations who are trying to build IFBB pro level physiques. This is in general. With the amount of enhancement going on TikTok, Instagram, these normal kids I'm seeing, I think they could benefit from shorter blasts, less side effects, and that's what the video was about. But I had a hater chirp me. I'll say hater in quotation marks because I just had criticism. He wasn't really like completely hating, but it was a pretty negative connotation the way he wrote the comment. But I think it's a good way to highlight where some people are who come on this channel versus where my mindset is when they come on this channel. And I think this would be great to highlight, because I did have a back and forth with him where he went back and forth and actually defended his points, unlike most people I chirp on here. And just to keep it clear, yeah, I do chirp people in the comment section. I get off on that energy. You guys think I'm sensitive? Go the fuck ahead. Think I'm fucking sensitive. I've been doing this shit since 18, getting soup cans thrown at me, being the fucking scapegoat for PEDs, and you think I fucking care. I feed off the negative energy, and I've always used that to motivate me. So if you see me in the comment section going back and forth, it's number one, to generate more comments for the algorithm. It's number two, because I love that some random dude will spend time on my page feeding me his energy with hatred. So I feed off the haterade and I sip it constantly. But this guy really wasn't hating. It was a good back and forth. That's why I'm gonna feature it. So Shred 94, complete bullshit. Short-term blasts don't yield significant gains. You need to red mine androgens for more than red mine. I think he said means red line. Androgens for more than 16 weeks to build real tissue, not just water weight. So first off, right off the bat, I didn't even go into this. So first off, right off the bat, I didn't even go into this. There's multiple variables, right? It depends on the esters of the cycle. I'm assuming he's thinking like longer term esters because they hit around week 4.5. So week 1 to 4 is just, you're just waiting for it to build up, which, you know, gives you from week 4.5 to week 16 to build muscle. Now, if we're using short acting compounds, they kick in instantly. They kick in within like 3 days and you're right off the bat. So there's variables of that cycle. If you were using decanate, something like that, or, you know, long-term esters, I could agree that you need more time than just 8 weeks. I was more in the harm mitigation, which I'll go into, but yeah, there's a lot of variables with this right off the bat, but he's leaning towards you need extremely long-term like a long form blast to put on a bunch of tissue, which I don't completely agree with, but let's go into it. So I chirp back and I'm stoking the fire here, right? I said, I guess my whole progress is a lie from 145 pounds to 265 pounds, meaning the way I have got all my progress, and I'll have Andrew throw up a picture of me at 145, throw up a picture of me at 265. I went from that to that. I was never supposed to get that big and just biohacked my genes. Every single cycle was around and under 14 weeks. 14-week blasts and under. I had a few gear cycles that went to 16 weeks. Very rarely. I'm an experimenter. I was doing multiple compounds, new compounds for short amounts of time, and then constantly going back in a cruise, doing the theory I told everyone of a lot of steps forwards, little steps backwards, a lot of steps forwards, little steps backward, versus sprinting forward on a 16-week blast and then going way back, right? I was trickling along, linearly progressing. That's how I personally went from 145 pounds to 265 pounds. So I go into that. I remember he commented that my 265 pounds was all fat and water. Now I have multiple posing videos on here, which I'll have Andrew throw up a picture from the Trend IGF LR3 cycle. I think for that being my first time ever to get to over 250 pounds, I didn't look that sloppy. I could walk on the Stairmaster for an hour straight, multiple hours straight Stairmasters. I was ramping my metabolism at that weight, but he actually deleted that negative connotation comment, so I just remember that personally. And then he also went into Chris Bumstead, right? He's saying Chris Bumstead redlined his, cycles to get to an IFBB pro level physique. Now this is where this isn't really adding up who I'm targeting with this video. And this is where I'm gonna go into, this video is targeted towards the noob who's on gear, who's reading the online bodybuilding forums thinking he has to do these big ass dosages for 16 weeks to get results when he doesn't really have his diet in check, doesn't really know how to train that well, but is still going to go down the enhanced route for the shortcut, right? This was my video, target audience, was to harm mitigate, hey, maybe I should just do a shorter cycle, have less side effects, and do everything right for 6 to 12 weeks, and then harm mitigate it and do way less damage to my body than redlining myself for 16 weeks and fucking up all the other variables. This video was not aimed or delegated towards someone who has pro aspirations, wants to get a pro card, and already has everything in check. You're probably not gonna fucking listen to this video because that's a completely different goal with acceptance of the damage you're doing for a perceived reward benefit of getting a pro card. This video was not designed for a hardcore bodybuilder to halt them from gaining size. It is designed, realistically speaking, for all the noobs who go enhance these days and do these crazy long blasts that have no base muscle, that don't get nothing out of it, and they would benefit the exact same from doing a shorter blast. This guy is coming at the angle of the old school angle of I'm trying to halt, these pros and these pro aspiration bodybuilders attempt to get gains. No, this is the modern times. Everyone is enhanced. Sad to say, it's true, and it's only getting worse, and you have a lot of people with no base tissue, no real experience in the gym, and you can make fun of me, but I already walked the walk. I walked the walk from 145 to 265, and I'm gonna compete at 195, then I'm gonna blast gear back up to 235, lean, looking like a freak in this coming year, and you guys are gonna see it, and you should subscribe and see it. What I'm not advocating is for someone who has no idea, no passion, no nothing, and just wants a body for Instagram fame, fucking TikTok clout, fucking to pull more girls on Tinder, but no real passion for the gym, no real, training methods, doesn't train like an enhanced pro or a good NPC local guy like me, doesn't train hard essentially, and doesn't really know how to diet, and they're still gonna do enhancement. That's who this video is targeted for. So I want to get that out of the way. So he deleted those two comments because I think we came to a conclusion at the end. I go into C-Bum's autoimmune system. So I was like, he's like, look at C-Bum. He deleted this comment because it doesn't really correlate with what the original OP was about, which is what people like to do when they argue with me, right? I go down to what their OP is about, original post is about, and then they start to delegate, mitigate to some other point to where they can catch more ground. But he did bring up that Bumstead probably blasted all the way up to his peak physique, which he got, in my opinion, around 23, 24, and he's refined it at age 27, I think he is, and he's using him as an example. And I just go into, well, you can see with his autoimmune disease, I'm sure, and I'm saying this from the fact that his autoimmune disease is hereditary. What I'm also saying is, think of the amount of foreign agents C-Bum has put into his body, how that impacts the progression of his autoimmune disease, thus why he's more conservative than most pros, despite him being, you know, the classic physique Mr. Olympia champion. Right then and there, that's a cross on even C-Bum at the highest fucking level, the best body in the world, the body that I'll never catch and never claim that I'm some genetic freak on here, that he's using as an example to argue with a video that's not even designed for a person like him, not designed for a guy with pro aspirations. You know, pro aspirations, you're just going for gold and you're blasting. And that's exactly what I'm doing this year. Biggest cycle I've ever done is what Alec has me currently on. Anyways, I highlighted that C-Bum probably stressed out his immune system a lot by doing that, and it probably progressed it faster, is all I'm saying. You know, that's what happens. Like, every time people think, like, every time you put these compounds in your body's all like hunky-dory. No, your body's like, every time you put in a foreign body of anything, it's like, what the fuck is that? And you constantly stress your body out. That's why you get the testosterone flu. If that didn't happen, why do people get the test flu? And if you want to fucking experiment, go inject a bunch of testosterone suspension and you'll have a fucking fever and flu from this foreign agent all hitting your blood at once. Your body will go into freak out mode, hit a fever to try and kill all the foreign bodies off. Just saying. And then he quotes himself, even from a health perspective, blasting decent dosages like a gram. And he said, I'm not advocating a gram. He's like, wait. Even from a health, like, he chirps back at me after we go into the C-Bum caveat, which had nothing to really do with his original post. Even from a health perspective, blasting decent dosages like a gram. And he says, I'm not advocating for dosages like 3 grams and stuff, but he's saying, like, if you want to bodybuild, you gotta do big boy dosages, which I don't agree with. This is old school mentality, and I just don't. The older you get, the less your body is able to tolerate gear. I agree on this. Blasting past 30 is dumb. It all depends on your current body state at 30. Blast in your 20s, build the size and maintain with high TRT after 30. I can see that. I can agree with him on that. But here it comes me again. The point is, for most people, doing the blast dosage you mentioned, unless you have aspirations to compete, get a pro card, is realistically completely unwarranted for the physique they're trying to get to. AKA, this guy thinks everyone wants to look like one of these giant juiced up pros, larger than life. No. People want to look like a fucking Instagram model. People want to look like a TikTok fitness influencer. People want to look like half natty, like Jeff Side look. Aesthetics. They want to fucking blast a bunch of shit and not train right to get to that. Do they need a 16-week cycle of over a gram? No. And I'm sure Shred on the other side of this camera agrees with me. Shred goes, I kind of agree with this point. Then I go into, you seriously think adding shit to, oh, I talk about C-Bum again. And I said, I hope we can both end positive here, that I'm not babying roid use and I'm all for hardcore bodybuilding, right? People get mixed up when I do bodybuilding content and harm mitigation biohacking content on this channel, right? We have to go into both. Bodybuilding is like race car driving, like I've said multiple times. I'm all for pushing it to the limit and finding the limit, and that, oh, once in a while after you tune a car, the car blows up because you're making too much power. Like, I'll relate it in that I'm still all in the hardcore bodybuilding. I love it. But you have to realize the way social media has spread out enhancement, that most of these people don't even want to step on stage. Most of these people don't even want to achieve a physique that the old school bodybuilders aspire to get to. They just want to be, you know, shredded and aesthetic and blast trend for weeks on end, when in realistically, they don't need a gram of test and trend. They could have just done it with fucking 350 sussing on a week in Anavar, 350 sussing on a week in RAD 140 and got to the same look, versus blasting and redlining over a gram to get to what this guy I'm sure would think is a stupid physique, but what these people think is like the physique they want to get to. I said, I hope we can end, and I'm not babying roid use, and I'm all for hardcore bodybuilding. That's not who this video is aimed at, and any hardcore guy is obviously not going to listen to me here, but the harm this video could mitigate of some random young dude blasting with zero diet, zero baseline physique, or training knowledge might slow down on trying to copy the hardcore bodybuilding dosages that this guy propagates on the internet, and that tons of people propagate on the internet, because he's thinking in his mind that everyone has all their ducks in a row and can just throw on 16-week blasts and actually make it worth it in the long run. It's not. It's not gonna be worth it in the long run for a lot of fucking dudes who do these extreme cycles. And like I said, if you have pro aspirations to compete, you already have people in your corner probably, you know, delegating you towards blasting more hardcore dosages. This is more a generalization, harm mitigation of just the young gym rats just jumping into enhancement. Might slow down on trying to copy hardcore bodybuilding bodybuilding dosages and may decide to logically settle on a physique they can actually get to, that they want to get to, because we both know how hard it is to build a truly competitive physique, not even touching the other variables of competitive training style, how to diet correctly when you're building an IFBB Pro physique, like shit ton of variables. And these kids, these young adults, even these 30-year-old gym rats think it's just the drugs that they're fucking up and that they gotta blast more drugs to get to these IFBB Pro level physiques when they're doing none of the other variables is what I'm getting at. That's what this video was targeted to. Shred says, for a couple years, no, you have to do it smart. I didn't say that you can do this for a very long time, blast real dosages for 2 years in your 20s and then drop to high TRT. I agree, man. I am very health conscious. I take telemosardin, which is a beta blocker, which Alec and I will do a video on beta blockers, but it's a double-edged sword with beta blockers. That's a whole different video. And give blood regularly, and I check my cholesterol. My blood pressure on a gram of testy is 100/60, 65 beats a minute, so I guess I'm doing shit right. If you're using telemosardin to maintain that, what is your blood pressure on a gram of testosterone a week without using the band-aid of telemosardin that could cause an autoimmune disease issue? That's what I would like to know. I'm not saying that he's not in the right. I'm just saying when you start manipulating that blood pressure that way, Alec has learned the hard way of, you know, I'll let Alec go into that because he faced the wrath of the double-edged sword of using beta blockers. But I wanted to highlight this. You know, it seems like I sit in the middle of people think I'm trying to put people on pussy dosages when I fucking don't. You need big boy dosages to compete. When I'm doing my competition prep, everyone knows my cycle is not no little ass cycle. I didn't do no crappy little minuscule cycle, and I'm currently on a big blast preparing to enter my prep contest blast, sitting at 230 pounds, going to compete blasted on trend at 195 to 200 pounds on stage. And I will reverse back on a big blast and I will fill out my frame finally on a lot of gear and go back up to 230, and then that will be my real next show. You know, this is the first demo show for me to truly get shredded one time and then reap all the benefits of reversing. So I'm gonna utilize the hardcore blast that he is exactly talking about. Am I the average person taking PEDs? No. In my opinion, no. In my opinion, it's all these guys who just, you know, they train at the gym for 6 months. I've been training with my bipolarism for fucking since 14 years old. I was a long distance runner that was still lifting weights. Switched into bodybuilding later in my fucking high school career, and then I jumped up and went all the way up to 265 pounds. So I have obviously walked a walk despite my genetics and insertions that, you know, I can walk this walk, right? Other people can't walk this walk. Other people use PEDs as a complete crutch. Other people don't understand the implications of blasting high dosages for a long period of time, what that does to your health. And of course, you need these for hardcore bodybuilding, you know, pro aspirations, want to compete, want to build a serious enhanced physique. Most people don't want that. Most people want TikTok physiques. Most people want Instagram physiques. You don't need over a fucking gram to get one of those shitty TikTok, Instagram physiques that you see, you know, 205 pounds at 14% body fat with veins, and like that's what's hot right now. You know, it's not nothing, no tissue, no nothing, right? Just a shredded vascular look and to have abs and aesthetics around, you know, 12-13% body fat, in my opinion, is what I'm seeing is trending in TikTok when they think of the hardcore physiques. This guy's stuck in the past of everyone is capable of getting to this super physiological physique, when I just don't personally agree that with the way it is nowadays that this video will make people reconsider blasting for 16 weeks and maybe only blasting for 8 to 12 weeks of shorter estered compounds, which would result in overall less harm to their body. And as they get more serious, they can do a more serious cycle. Following this guy's advice of jumping right into a gram of shit, where do you go after that? Where do you go after blasting all that shit? Do you go even higher than that? Do you go lower than that after that? In my opinion, you want to linearly build up and like, okay, if you've been cycling a while on minuscule dosages and you have all your ducks in a row, like training and food and dieting and sleep and all the micronutrient supplementation, and you're tracking your blood work and everything like he is, then add the big boy cycles. That makes sense. But this video, like I said, is designed at harm mitigation, and you guys cannot fight me in the comments over mitigating people damaging their fucking body. It's just like, come on now. At some point, we gotta realize that this harm mitigation needs to be stepped up, and I'm the dude who's the walking guinea pig and pincushion. But in reality, you don't need that much shit to achieve the actual physique people want to look like, right? If you want to compete as a pro, if you want to be a good NPC competitor, okay, you gotta dip your feet in the gasoline. If you just want to have a good beach body, you just gotta dip your feet in the water. I will see you guys in my next video.